So hi, Ariane. Thanks very much for jumping on. I was just hoping that you might be able to tell me a little bit about yourself and about your family.
Okay, hi Chelsea, nice to see you. I am a mum of 3 children. I worked as a lawyer in private practice and then I went in-house. Very busy corporate job, obviously, so my life has completely changed since I had 3 children. I'm planning to go back at some stage, but obviously at the moment my health and my family are my main priority. Just getting on top of that before I even contemplate going back to work.
Tell me about how old your kids are.
Kids are 5, 3 and 1.
And you got your hands full. It's not
Keeping
like
me
that.
busy.
I think that's a vital thing to include in there, because what you've achieved, despite the fact that you've got 3 really young kids, is so impressive. What were the specific challenges that you were facing when we first had that first conversation?
So I was really exhausted. I was feeling really burnt out as a mum, given that I'd had the children very close in age. I had a couple of bad pregnancies, so that kind of wore me out. On top of, I had a really bad back injury after the birth of my 3rd child. So he was 4 months old. I was not able to get my body back into shape the way I was able to with my other 2 children. So that really threw a spanner into the works. I ended up in hospital for a week. And from there, I pretty much spiraled downwards, where I gained about 10 kilos. And I was starting to feel really down on myself. I was exhausted because I wasn't sleeping from the baby. I was reaching for sugar and coffee and anything else that was really bad for me just to get through the day. And I was trying to manage my back pain as well as look after 3 little children. And so my stress levels were really, really high. It was pretty much like a really bad vicious cycle, and I just had no idea how to get out of it. And then I stumbled across Inspired Mums on the Facebook page and just inquired about it, and then the rest is history. Pretty much. There's
a few things that I wrote down from our first conversation that I wanted to remind you of. These are some lines that you said to me.
Uh-oh.
You said, you said one of the big things that we discussed, which has really changed for you, was that you always felt that you were always putting the kids first and your whole family first, and that you never had any time for yourself anymore. And you felt huge amounts of guilt around working on your own goals and looking after yourself, because you always felt that their needs always came first. And I feel like that's a massive hurdle that we've overcome in the past 3 months, and the guilt around that. And that's why why you're in such a good mental space now as well. You said that you were always so tired because you were looking after the kids all the time, and lack of sleep and all those sorts of things, that you would never be able to say yes to any social events because you never knew how tired you were going to be on that night, and you didn't want to say yes and then not be able to go because you were so utterly exhausted. And I think looking at you where you are now, and you're able to schedule in events and time for yourself, and you're taking the time to look after yourself on a daily basis, and putting in so many aspects into your lifestyle around self-love for you, and the space that you're in now is just so much better.
I was just feeling exhausted. So that's I had forgotten about all of that, because obviously I've come so far through the program that I had actually forgotten about, pretty much my previous life, which you've just reminded me of.
So are you able to tell me, what was it about the Inspired Mumma program in that first conversation that made you want to join?
The fact that I think it was all about mums, and focusing particularly on the mother in the family and how important she was, her role, and how, if her health is not on track, then the family will fall apart. And I think that was what was really important part to me, is just making sure that I get my health, because my health was not good. I was in an absolute rapid decline. And I think part of my back issues were also the foods I was eating as well, were just inflaming things. So really, I think the program to me, what really stood out was the healthy eating, the diet. Just really wanted to get my children's health and eating back on track, because I guess my son we were told he had a peanut allergy a couple of months before we were in touch. And I think that was the main reason why I was looking into this as well, was to try and change the whole family's diet as well as my own, because the program offers a holistic approach to things. I think that really appealed to me.
So what do you feel are some of the biggest things that you've gained throughout the program? What have you learned about yourself?
I've learned a lot of things. Like, I guess I never was really into meditation. Like, I was very heavily into yoga before I injured my back. So I always had that mindfulness that I really always, I did yoga all throughout my pregnancies and always found it very relaxing and soothing and calming and that sort of thing. I think I've pretty much calmed down. I approach things differently, particularly stressful situations. I just deal with things on a daily basis differently to how I was dealing with. I was very stressed, and I think you can't think straight when you're in that really terrible vicious cycle of stress and worry and anxiousness. And yeah, I probably had a bit of post-traumatic stress from what happened to me with my back as well, because I was really ill in hospital when there was the complication with the cortisone injection, and I felt so sick that I actually thought I wasn't going to make it out of there. And I remember saying to my mum in the hospital that, oh my gosh, imagine if I never make it out. So it's been a long road to recovery, but I think this has got me back on track a lot faster than I probably would have done it on my own, if you know what I mean. So I've changed a lot in terms of dealing with managing my stress, time management, meal prep, all the stuff that I've learned throughout the courses. It all comes together in the end, by the end of the 12 weeks. Yeah. And I think you just have to try and implement everything, on a daily basis and as best you can around the busy lifestyle that most of us mums lead. But yeah.
So what do you see as the long-term impact of being a part of the Inspired Mumma community or being part of the program?
Long-term, it's just, I will absolutely be maintaining the principles I've learned. Meal prep, time management skills. I exercise in pretty much every day. I used to exercise a lot, but not every day. Yeah, just having my little morning rituals and looking after myself first and foremost. Before I would get up and attend to the children first and not worry about myself. But now it's different, because I'll get up and I'll look after myself first and have my hot cup of lemon tea and do my meditation in the mornings. And even at night before I go to bed, I make sure that I do my meditation, and that's now become a routine for me. And I think once you start doing these healthy and good routines for yourself, you just get into a system and you pretty much want to keep doing it because it's making you feel good, right?
Yeah.
And obviously the recipes, I want to keep cooking the way we're cooking. And I think I feel so much better now. My gut health is 100% better than what it was before. I went along to a lady's, we went to exchange some dresses at a party. And I offered to bring, I was telling you, I offered to take that quiche. Yeah. Okay, so that quiche was demolished within 10 minutes. It was gone. And all the ladies wanted the recipe. I had them emailing me. It was unbelievable. Everything else on the table, because there was no veggie sticks. It was all really bad stuff on the table. And then my girlfriend ordered pizzas, and the girls just looked at me and they're like, I think we'll have some of your homemade quiche. And I'm like, yeah, try some. It's really nice. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely delicious. I was telling them what was in it, and they were like, oh, I need the recipe. So maybe I'll get them on board. Honestly, your tutorials are so vital and so on point with what we need to know. It's all summarised really well. So I think at first it was quite overwhelming, all the information, but when you go week by week, once you get through each week, you understand how it all fits into what we're trying to achieve.
It all comes together in the end.
Yeah. So just implementing pretty much everything that you've taught me in the program.
And how much weight have you lost now?
I think I've lost about 8.5.
Do you have any advice for any mums that might be considering Inspired Mumma, thinking of coming in? What would be your advice to them?
I would say if you are keen on doing it, do it, because it will be a life-changing thing for you. I think that you need to be 100% dedicated to wanting to change your lifestyle, and you have to put the effort in. You really have to put the effort in and be dedicated, because otherwise you won't see the results. Those that get the results certainly put in 100, if not 110%. So that's, but it's absolutely, it will change your life. There's no question. So go for it, but make sure you do your homework. Or Chelsea will come after you. Not at all. She's the best health coach ever.
Thanks, Ariane. I do have to go after some mums sometimes, but not very often. Okay.
Oh dear.
Oh, thank you.